order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag. Okay. Before we approve the agenda, I would like to pull as informational item number one and move that to the next regular meeting or the special meeting on the 29th. That I will approve the agenda. Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we will recess into executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-110-1B and C. Action to be taken to include Superintendent Casey to consider the selection of a site or the acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase when public knowledge regarding such considerations would cause a likelihood of increased price, and to consider the minimum price at which real estate will be offered for sale or lease when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause a likelihood of a decreased price. However, final action selling or leasing public property shall be taken in a meeting open to the public. We'll go for 10 minutes, so we'll reconvene at 6:13. Okay. All right, we'll reconvene this meeting at 6:15. Now we will start, the 25-26 Student Board Representative interviews. If all the candidates, as we go through this process, we'll move all the candidates into this room here. We'll call you in one at a time, starting alphabetically. Conduct the interview, and then we'll dismiss you back into the executive session room and just do that till the end. And then we'll go into executive session and, go over the interview process and we'll come out and make a decision. So if you guys could make your way there, the first. We don't, you don't want to be locked in like us. First up will be Samantha Jimenez. Samantha, you can sit at that table. And then, on the microphone, just make sure the green light is on. And you might have to scoot it a little bit closer. You almost have to talk like directly into the mic.
Hello, testing, testing. Thank you.
All right, we get organized here. First up, so we'll each ask a question, a board member. We want the student reps. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll go down the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we'll just kind of start and just keep rotating. So, no, they don't have a paper. Okay. All right, Samantha, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I think I have the easiest question. What is your name and graduation year?
My name is Sammy Jimenez and I graduate in 2026.
Samantha, what motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board?
Yeah, well, I wanted to apply because I believe that all students, no matter who they represent or where they come from, they should all be able to have a voice. And I believe I would do an excellent job at representing all of these students with an open mind and willing to do what's best to help them. And I believe that they deserve the best, and I will work my hardest to give them the best.
How would you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
Yes, I think this is a great question. I would get a notebook in the very beginning, and throughout the year, I would gather whatever concerns they may have, and I would bring that to the board, and I would do my best to be able to represent them and get the issues resolved.
Sam, what is one important issue facing students today and how would you address it as a representative?
Yeah. So when I first read this on the paper, I had first thought about in leadership class a few weeks ago when a student had came in and talked about racism in the school. And it had really opened my eyes. And I believe that is a big issue that we are facing. And I would do my best to be able to resolve that by spreading awareness and educational ways of making sure that that stops.
Tammy, thank you so much for applying for this. How will you balance your academic and extracurricular activities with the responsibilities of attending board meetings?
Yeah. So I am a really involved student in my school. I do my best to be as involved as I possibly can. And I've been doing this since my freshman year. And so I've had quite a bit of time to be able to learn how to balance all of my priorities and make sure that I give my all to all of them. And so specifically with the board here and my responsibilities with this, I would directly communicate with all of my coaches and all of my advisors beforehand and make sure that everything is fixed and everything is in place so that I can show up as much as I can and I can give my very all. Thank you.
Alexander?
What skills or experiences
make you a strong candidate for this role?
Yeah. Like there are a few ways that I am a really good candidate for this. I'm really adaptive. Any new sort of role or any new experience that is being thrown my way, I do a really good job at adapting and giving my all. I am also a really hard worker. I give my all into everything that I do, and I work my hardest to make sure that the job is done well.
Samantha, that's it for the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Uh,
for your time. Okay,
Oh,
Great.
oh, that's right.
okay.
Next up will be
Thank
Lena,
you.
the favorite. Thank you. Thank you. Lina. So part of this, thank you for coming. Do you pronounce it Lina or Lena?
It's Lina.
Lina, okay. So we've got a series of questions. You've got a copy there.
Thank
We're gonna take turns, asking. Cammie's gonna be the first up and then we'll swing back around.
All right. What is your name and your graduation year?
I am Lina LaFay. I will graduate in 2026.
What motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board?
What really motivated me to apply was the thought that I could help people, that I could help like students in Prosser who aren't really comfortable voicing their opinions, find a way to get their voice heard, even if it's not directly through themselves. I feel that I'm a pretty approachable person, so I thought that I'd be a good fit for the job.
Lina, how would you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
Personally, to start the school year, I would start with maybe a slide in the bulletin to introduce myself and introduce the topic, especially for freshmen who don't know how to get their voice heard. And then throughout the year, change up approaches with maybe QR codes on flyers and maybe the bathroom or in common areas, and then work my way through with like spreading word of mouth, hopefully.
What is one important issue facing students today, and how would you address it as a representative?
One important that students are facing lately is probably a lack of communication or a struggle in communication between students and their advisors. So a lot of students feel that like, oh, their advisors don't want to hear them or are simply, not to say ignorant, but unaware of the actual realities of being a high school student and what a genuine workload balance looks like. So just working through their issues with the adults and seeing that in a realistic light instead of an idealized way would probably be an issue that students are working through currently.
Yes, Lena, how would you balance your academic and extracurricular commitments with the responsibilities of attending board meetings?
To balance my academic and extracurricular commitments, I would probably say that I keep a pretty dedicated planner. So I am very aware of what I have coming up and what I have to work with. And all my other extracurriculars, like FFA, are very understanding of other commitments in sports as well. So I have very understanding advisors and coaches who understand that my commitment and priorities might need to be otherwhere for maybe 30 minutes out of like the last half of practice. But balancing that, probably just being aware of what's coming up and how to prioritize what needs to be done at the time.
What skills or experiences make you a strong candidate for this role?
I would probably say that my skills to make me a strong candidate for this role would be both between FFA and Girl Scouts. In FFA, I competed in parliamentary procedure, and we've had to think through problems very quickly and look how to solve them as a team. And as well as Girl Scouts, when discussing what we wanted to do with our troop, we had to think through realistically what would our actions look like on our community and on our troop itself. So I think my ability to think through problems on my feet and also do so quickly and realistically would be a skill that would make me a strong candidate.
Yeah, thank you very much. That concludes the questions, and you feel free to have a seat and watch the rest of your candidates.
Thank you.
Sophia, welcome. We've got a series of questions here. You have a copy there for your reference. And we're going to take turns asking those questions. And Michelle, you're up first.
First, thank you for applying for this role. Could you tell us your name and graduation year?
My name is Sofia Madera and I graduate 2027.
What motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board?
Because I noticed even though many people say that other students' voices need to be heard, they aren't really heard. And I really wanted everybody to be heard and be able to express their opinion on any decisions that are made by the school.
How would you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
I would like to listen to everybody and try to give satisfaction to everybody, and make a negotiation between everybody. So that way there's not anybody getting angry for not being heard. Instead, come up with the easy solution with everybody getting heard.
What is one important issue facing students today, and how would you address it as a representative?
One issue that I've seen a lot is that many people aren't included inside of social groups or clubs and activities, and many feel left out or maybe feel like they don't belong in school, or they just don't want to come because they don't feel included. And I feel like a good solution to that would be making workshops for students to come and participate. That way everybody can get to know each other.
How will you balance your academic and extracurricular commitments with the responsibilities of attending board meetings?
I would keep an agenda and try to keep everything organized, set up dates, times, and try to have an easy schedule to work around.
What skills or experiences make you a strong candidate?
I am very responsible. I am very hardworking, and when I set my mind to do something, I will complete it and try to do it the best way I can possibly make it.
Thank you, Sophia. That concludes these groups of questions. You feel free to take a seat behind you and we'll call in the next candidate. Thank you. Zaylin. Zaylin, welcome. So we've got a list of questions here. You have a copy there for you. Each one of us will take turns asking a question. Frank will be up first.
Welcome. Zaylin, what is your name and graduation year?
My name is Aileen Medina and my graduation year is 2027.
What motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board?
What motivated me to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board is to advocate for people who are too scared to themselves. I feel as if many people have many opinions and can decide on crucial ideas. And I feel that since I applied to be someone to voice it through the perspective of a student, I feel as if that's what motivated me to really apply for this.
How would you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
I would definitely gather feedback from my peers through voices where they're heard physically and also through physical copy of papers or surveys or anything as if they feel comfortable enough to come up to me and ask or to voice their opinions themselves. I feel like that's definitely a good way to gather feedback from them.
What is one important issue facing students today? And how would you address it as a representative?
I feel as if an important issue facing students today is just not being included. I feel many people really feel within themselves and really introverted and scared to do things. And I would address it just by creating clubs or any new ideas that would really incorporate them.
How will you balance your academic and extracurricular commitments with the responsibility of attending board meetings?
I would definitely pick days where I can attend my extracurriculars. I am very um, involved in like FFA and my sports, and I would definitely feel that my time management, I would manage it well. And I would balance it by making a certain schedule that I already have in my routine.
What skills or experiences make you a strong candidate for this role?
Um, my skills are that I feel like I would be very vocal towards what I think is right. And another skill is being determined to also voice what I think is also right. And what makes me a strong candidate is for this role is that what makes me a strong candidate for this role is that I'm not afraid to voice what I think is right, and I'm not afraid to stand on what I also think would be the best and for the better good of the students in Foster School District.
Thank you, Zaylin. That
Thank you.
concludes the questions. Appreciate it. And you can take a seat behind you and we'll bring in the next candidate. Valerie, welcome. Thank you for coming and applying for this. So you've got a list of questions in front of you. We'll each take turns asking those questions and then you can respond. So I'm up first with the easy one. What is your name and graduation year?
My name's Valerie Kiana Munoz, and my graduation year is 2026.
What motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School?
What motivated me was that I feel like I can represent the school board, like the student body, really well within the school because of the multiple leadership roles I have. I have been in ASB for 3 years, for my class, so I feel like I can represent my class well in that sense. And I wanted to bring the issues or the concerns that students have today to the school board in that perspective, and I feel like I can represent that really well.
How do you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
I would gather feedback from my peers by first, since I'm an ASB, I would address the student, like the class president, and I would probably look out for, I don't know, like put out like forms or just reach out to different groups and different clubs and like ask them like what issues are in the school that they want to get fixed or something or be open that they can come to me if they have anything that they want to be changed or they have any issues that they want to be heard.
Valerie, what is one important issue facing students today, and how would you address it as a representative?
I feel like one important issue that students are facing today throughout the entire like Prosser High School is the lack of support to their education. I've seen through the different grades that there are like issues with with they like drop their grades drop, right? And I feel like it's because of a lack of support and a lack of like, I don't know, like belief in them. I think I would address this by working with different school groups to help, especially starting with the freshmen. And I see it a lot in like every grade, not just freshmen, but maybe working with like school groups like Link Crew or leadership to like promote that there's always a place for these students and help for them. And I would address this like in a sense of like reaching out to different school groups and just reaching out to the students in general and maybe creating events for them, like meetings in the auditorium during Mustang period so they can get the help they need or feel heard and seen.
Valerie, help me balance your academic and extracurricular commitments with the responsibilities of attending board meetings.
So I would balance this since I'm gonna be in other extracurriculars, especially senior year. I'm actually an avid student, so I've learned since 7th grade to have an agenda and to always be ready for anything that comes my way. So I would always make sure to have my agenda or planner just prepared with the school board meetings, and I have the extracurriculars that I am in is National Honor Society. I'm going to be an officer, and ASB I'm going to be an officer as well. I feel like I have advisors that are very flexible with different things. So I think that I could balance that pretty well as long as I have good communication and I keep my commitment to the school board meetings if I am selected.
What skills or experiences make you a strong candidate for this role?
Some experiences that make me a strong candidate for this role would be I have been an officer for 3 years, so I feel like I have that leadership opportunity to like hear out students throughout the entire school. And I have also had many leadership roles. Like I've recently gone to the equity in SELA, the student summit, and I learned a lot about what our school can fix and how other schools address these issues of certain topics that need to be addressed, like an example being racial equality and racism throughout like what we've seen throughout the school. I feel like through that, I've learned a lot about representing students throughout the entire community. And some skills that make me perfect for this role would be that I am extremely respectful and responsible. Whenever I have to do something, whenever I have something that I've committed to, I stick with it. I never change it for anything. I work through it, no matter, despite what issues I might have with it. I feel like I'm also a good leader. I have had a lot of leadership opportunities throughout high school, and I want to make this another leadership opportunity to build me for my future.
Great, Valerie, thank you. You can go ahead and take a seat behind you and we'll call on the next candidate. Esri Roy. Oh, you can sit back here. Oh, okay. Esri, welcome. Thank you for coming. You have a series of questions in front of you. We'll each ask you one. And we'll just kind of take turns doing that, and Cammie's gonna be up first.
Okay. What is your name and your graduation year? My name is Esri Roy and I will graduate in 2027. What motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board? I'm a part of very many leadership positions at Prosser High School, and because of that, I come from a lot of different spaces that I think would have a lot of opinions that I would be able to represent. I also am the youngest of 3 daughters, so I've developed a lot of leadership skills in learning to raise my voice. So I'd love to implement those skills in being a voice for not only myself, but also my peers.
How would you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
Like I said, I'm a part of leadership, FFA, and ASB. So I come from a lot of different groups, and because of that, I bring a lot of different opinions. I would make sure to be asking questions, listening to people, listening to their concerns, and also being willing to tell you guys about that and provide my honest opinion.
What is one important issue facing students today, and how would you address it as a representative?
I think inconsistency is a huge issue in our school. I think it's a cause for a lot of people to fail and struggle. I think that if we were able to provide a more consistent system for our school, we would have a better chance at gaining success and better success through our student.
How will you balance your academics and extracurricular commitments with the responsibilities of your board meeting?
Throughout my life, I've participated in a lot of sports and extracurriculars along with school. So I've developed the skills of maintaining organization, which I have found has been really helpful to make sure that I have time for each individual thing in my schedule.
What skills or experiences make you a strong candidate for this role?
I am very compassionate as well as driven. So I really care about people's feelings, their opinions, their emotions, and I also am very determined. I am willing to stand up for what is right, and I want to do that for my students and myself.
Well, thank you, Esri.
Thank you.
You can go ahead and take a seat and we'll bring in the next candidate.
Thank you very much.
Ernesto, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. There is a list of questions in front of you that we're going to ask as part of this. We're kind of each take turns doing that, and Michelle will be up first.
Thank you for coming. Could you tell us your name and graduation year?
My name is Ernesto Santian, and I graduate in 2027.
What motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board?
What made me apply was I wanted to be like more involved in school and make sure every student at PHS like has a voice.
How would you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
How I would do that would be by listening to like every like group of students at our school because our school is like very diverse, and make sure I listen to every concern and what everyone wants, and then inform the board about what they told me.
What is one important issue facing students today, and how would you address it as a representative?
An important issue like that students are facing today would probably be involvement and just like being seen. So I'd make sure that like the groups at PHS and all the clubs are like more out there so kids have something to do outside of like school time, and just make sure that they can be like active and spending time with other students.
Sorry. Um, how will you balance your academic and extracurricular commitments with the responsibilities of attending board meetings?
I plan on having a calendar so I can mark down important things and important meetings that I have to attend, and making sure I'm on top of everything and manage my time wisely.
What skills or experiences make you a strong?
I feel like I'm a very social person and I enjoy talking to people and I enjoy like being a leader and being like a voice for someone to express how they feel.
Thank you, Ernesto. That concludes the questions. You can go ahead and take a seat behind you.
Thank you.
Olivia, welcome. They'll have a list of questions. Thanks again for coming and applying for this. The list of questions are in front of you. We'll take turns, and we'll kind of go down the line. With that, Frank will be up first. What is your name and graduation?
My name is Olivia Smasny and I graduate in 2027.
What motivated you to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board?
I was motivated to apply for the student representative role on the Prosser School Board because I think every student deserves a voice. I believe a lot of students are ignored. There's students who are really good at athletics, there's students who are really good at academics, and then there's a lot of students in between who don't necessarily get represented all the time. And I believe every student, no matter where they are on the spectrum, should have a voice. I also believe a lot of kids don't know what is going on the school board because it's not being communicated to them. So I think for them to have a voice, it would be important for them to know what's going on so they can form their opinion about it. So I would communicate to the school board about what the students want, but also communicate to the students about what they can have an opinion on.
How would you gather feedback from your peers to ensure their concerns are heard by the board?
I would gather feedback verbally, talking to my peers daily. Also, I mean, with technology everywhere and prevalent, having forms where they can always put in their ideas. We have the bulletin in the high school shown to the students in musting period, QR codes to those forms, just making sure they all have a voice.
What is one important issue facing students today, and how would you address it as a representative?
I believe one important issue facing students today is a lack of preparation for life outside of high school. We are prepared for tests in our classes. We're prepared for our next sports game, but we're not necessarily prepared for what life is going to be outside of high school. Some of us want to go into the workplace. Some of us want to play sports at a community college. Some of us want to go to a top university. And I believe we need to be helping students based on their individual plan outside of high school.
How will you balance academic and extracurricular commitments with the responsibilities of attending board meetings?
I would prioritize my academics and board meetings, and well, I'd prioritize everything, but making sure I have time divided between each section so that I can get everything done. I'd make sure I was really organized, keep everything in a planner. I use reminders on my phone all the time. So just making sure I continue to be organized and prepared for everything.
What skills or experiences make you a strong candidate for this role?
I have a lot of skills and experiences that make me a strong candidate. On a school level, I participate in volleyball and tennis. I have attended leadership conferences for the school. I have been the class president my freshman and sophomore year. And then on a more personal level outside of school things that I've done. Well, actually, this one is school, sorry. I'm currently in Whoosh, so I'm participating in NHD and going to nationals in June. This club has really helped my public speaking skills and my research skills, which I think would be a great asset to this board.
And then on a more personal level, outside of school, I paged for the Washington State Senate my freshman year. So I have a great understanding of parliamentary procedures and governments in general. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Olivia. That concludes our questions. Feel free to take a seat.
Thank you.
I want to thank you all again for applying and being a part of this process. And at this point, we will recess into executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-101H. Decisions on student board representatives for 25-26 appointment. Action to be taken to include Superintendent Casey, and it is to evaluate the qualifications of a candidate or appointment to elective office. However, any interviews of such candidate and final action appointing a candidate to elective office shall be in a meeting open to the public. And I think we will go for 20 minutes. So we'll reconvene at 7:12, right? Yeah, so 7:12. Okay, we'll reconvene, the regular board meeting at 7:24.
Just for the record, everyone, I'm not feeling well and I'm going to be excusing myself. And I will zoom in and be available by phone, but I will be exiting. So if you see me exiting, I just want you to know where I'm going.
You can. All right. Well, first off, I just want to thank all of you for coming tonight, presenting, going through this interview. It takes courage to stand up in front of us. So I really appreciate you stepping forward and being a part of this process. And with that, I would like to nominate Samantha Jimenez, Esri Roy, and Olivia Smasney for the 25-26 Student Board Representatives.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Samantha Jimenez, Esri Roy, and Olivia Smasney as our 25-26 student board reps. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So with that, congratulations. Thank you all for coming. And our new student board reps will be sworn in at a special board meeting on Thursday, May 29th, right here at 6 p.m. Following the ceremony, we'll celebrate and recognize the contributions of our 24-25 student reps, Yoshimi Garcia, Cami Duncan, and Alexander Taveldi. With that, thank you very much. And you're free to hang out, or you're welcome to leave.
I'm just gonna say, do not feel bad. It will be a very long meeting and you should go while you have the chance. You're gonna have, yeah. Just some advice.
Thank you, Deanna. Right. Okay, so moving on, to informational items. It will be Gear Up Nature Bridge Trip. And we move yours to the next meeting, right? I gotta get fired back up, sorry.
Brian, do you know anything about this trip?
And see some things. Yeah, Gear Up has been great for us, Nature Bridge trip. I don't know a ton about this one other than that they're trying to get kids out and see things that they wouldn't normally be able to see, and this is one of them. Anything that Gear Up has done has been amazing. They generally have pretty good support and always take a nice amount of supervision, supervisors to help with the kids. I'm sure this would be no different. And Jose Andrade has been very good so far to work with, and hopefully that gets approved.
Do you know if this is funded through Gear Up?
It is 100% funded through Gear Up.
Questions for Brian or Deanna?
I don't know if you guys will know, but are they just looking to take 2 students?
No, two, I don't know where you, did I not see that? They will try to take way more than 2. Yeah, I don't know where those numbers, is that on the link that you're seeing?
It's in the offsite
says on
event
the
request.
contract.
Says grade 10, number 2. When I read it, I pictured a bigger group.
It should be a bigger group than that.
Yeah, I think maybe that's a typo because they're
I think
taking
so
a
too.
charter bus.
Yeah.
I thought they
typically,
were taking a pretty large group of kids.
If it was only 2, they wouldn't approve it. They wouldn't do it because it would then cost them more. But so I would assume that that is a typo. They generally try to at least take a bus of kids. So I can find that out for you and have them email you guys.
I hope they're planning to take a bus. It sounds like a great time.
Well, yeah, that
wanna
is,
go.
their transportation is a charter bus. If you see on the little agreement, they are taking a charter bus. I thought it was 25 to 40 students, but it's been a while since I talked, so don't quote me on that.
Oh, maybe we can just, for next meeting, get.
Yeah, we can Brian can bring that back for information for you.
Think any more questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian. Next up, is a memorandum of understanding between Prosser School District and Prosser Education Association.
So I'll just confess right now, I'm gonna do my best to keep up with all this, but I was, yeah, I'm a good talker, so that's good. So this is the MOU that we came to agreement with the teachers union. It's been really wonderful working with them. They've been, wonderful partners. And, I just appreciate, and I know Kim appreciates all of their work. They, were really, concerned about teachers losing their jobs and about, how that impacts our students in our district. And so they proposed, some basically temporary holds on some of their benefits that would save money to save 6 jobs.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It was very awesome.
Great.
Any questions for Deanna? Student? Okay, moving on to the MOU between Prosser School District and the Prosser Principals Association. Reduction.
So, sorry. This is a similar situation. The building, all of our building principals that are in the Principals Association agreement. Oh, this is their regular, sorry, catching up again. Their extra work days, they also assigned the MOU and MOU. They're changing their number of extra work days also to save money for the district, to save people's jobs.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Deanna? Students? Okay, next up is a voluntary reduction of 2 additional days for 25-26 contract year. Superintendent Kim Casey. I know she's not here to.
Same story. And actually, you're gonna get one of these from me also. I just didn't get it done in time for the meeting. Unfortunately, right now, my father-in-law is not doing well. And so I have been out some days, so I did not get this in. I am gonna, but this is Kim's commitment to also reducing days to also save money for the district so that we can save jobs.
Any questions for that? Well, I'd just like to personally thank the BEA and the Principals Association, Kim and Deanna, and, you know, all the work that's being done to help kind of right our financial issues. And I really appreciate the teamwork that we're seeing as far as, you know, being a partner for, you know, the outcome for kids. So I really appreciate that, and thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on that?
Thank you.
Do we have anybody signed up to speak? Blake, is there anybody online? I think we'll skip that. All right, student representative report. Yoshimi?
Get my list out one. For ASB, not much going on, but we are also approving budgets over there for clubs for next year. And then band is going to the Lilac Parade on Saturday. We're number 124. So we'll be stepping off pretty late in the night. And then we have a concert on May 27th with the choir.
Where's the concert at?
It's at the auditorium. I believe it starts at 7. So
What are your parade songs?
we have Rescue Me by Aretha Franklin and Think by Aretha Franklin also.
Questions for Yoshi? Thank you. Cami?
Track travels to Ephrata for the sub-district prelims on Friday, and girls track are back-to-back COAC League champs.
Congratulations. Questions for Cami? Cami, Alexander?
Since I forgot to mention this last meeting, I have received a request by a student to ask for Art Fikers parking lot, stripes to be repainted because of them fading.
I will just comment on that. I think that we have a plan to repaint. I know Andy was gonna get some quotes, and if not, some of our staff would be doing it. Restriping at Art Fiker, the district office, the softball field, and the middle school. All need it.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Alexander? Thank you. Okay, moving on to action items. Out-of-state travel request for boys wrestling to attend the Montana Intensive Camp in Flathead, Montana. I believe you have this in front of you. It's probably also in the board packet.
And I believe I've also been tagged to share about this one. Because it was going to be late, and as we know, one is also one of our maintenance folks. They go to work pretty early in the morning. But the cost of the camp, there's going to be $100 come from the wrestling club, $50 out of ASB for each student, and each participant would be responsible for $150 of their own money to participate.
Great place to have a wrestling tournament.
Sounds like a great place.
I would move to approve the out-of-state travel request for boys wrestling to attend the Montana Intensive Camp in Flathead, Montana.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve out-of-state travel request for boys wrestling. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to the consultant service agreement for the senior luncheon.
Not do this justice. I am filling in for Mackenzie Lopez. She is at a health occupations parent meeting that is going on right now at the hospital. But these are the service agreements for the senior luncheon. We do this every year, and we take our senior group to the Princess Theater, and that happens after our senior walk. We drive them over to the theater and watch a film, listen to a speaker, and then feed them lunch at the end of that day. It's a very long day, and seems like a good wind down for our seniors. Usually people love it, and this is similar to what we've done in years past, and we'd love for this to be approved.
I was getting all teared up just thinking about that all these seniors are about to graduate. How cool that is. When I was reading this, I was like, oh, that's the slideshow. Oh, what a good pace.
The slideshow.
Anyway, I would like to move to approve your consultant service agreements for the luncheon.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consultant service agreement for the senior luncheon. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up is request for out-of-state travel and sub-coverage for Thursday and Friday, June 5th and 6th for archery.
So also because we thought this was going to take a while, I believe that Wendy and Linda are online to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Wendy, we can't hear you. Blake, can you unmute her?
I'll say congratulations while we
I
wait
know,
for
isn't
her.
that amazing?
I think this is internationals, right?
Yeah, it's like worlds.
Yeah, very cool.
She's still muted. Well, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. So we did have some students, so actually more than a few students qualified to go to the Worlds competition. And just like, I don't know, I kind of suggested this to the Smiths because of National History Day and because of this, and we have like this quick turnaround for all these things, that probably like in February or March, we should just do just in case we qualify approval for out of state, so we don't have to try to quickly turn things around, make phone calls and do all of that. That might be a good idea for Wendy and Linda's group as well, because they've qualified for nationals and now worlds on more than one occasion.
Are you able to hear me? This is Linda.
Yes, we can hear you, Linda.
Okay. I was gonna let Wendy speak, but she might be having some trouble with her computer. Yes, Deanna, exactly what you said. So we took the kids to nationals and the elementary team, they qualified for championships. That's coming up in South Carolina in June. And then we had one of the Housel Middle School students qualify for the championship that is in South Carolina. So basically, what happens is we go to Western Nationals in Utah, where we went, and kids had an amazing experience competing, and they got to know other archers, and it was great. Anyway, so now they take the Western and the Eastern part of the United States and put them all together for this championship that's coming up in June. So we're really excited. And Deanna, I think you have a really good plan because it seems like every year we're coming back and requesting. So if we could, maybe look at that next year as kind of a overall plan. So if you have some questions for us, please ask.
Questions for Linda?
I don't want to jinx anything, but I think we're kind of getting a track record on those two events, so.
Right.
I would love to see a presentation from you guys to come back. I think it's such a. I would make.
We can do that.
Great, thank you, Linda.
So speaking of that,
Linda, I'm just wondering, because we have the gym so close, maybe we could even see the kids do some shooting?
oh, we could do that too. We could bring you all in and do 11 steps to archery success.
See how good we are?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request and sub-coverage for archery. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
One last thing, or two last things. I really appreciate the support that you as a board have given us. We really, really appreciate that. We're doing some fundraising because, as you know, to fly to South Carolina is a little spendy. And so we have at least one adult going with each kid. We're running a raffle. We're going to be raffling off a Genesis bow. So get a hold of us if you'd like to buy a ticket.
Thank you,
Do
Linda.
you guys have just like a QR code that we could donate to, or maybe do we just do a donation to maybe the buildings, ASB?
I think that would work too, Deanna. We could do like a donation type of thing too, to put into our fund to be able to distribute to the kids.
That would make less competition in the raffle.
Yes, Michelle is saying,
I'll purchase my raffle tickets.
well, if you want no less competition, you'll have to purchase more.
But please contact us to help support the kids, and anybody out there in the public listening, they could use support to help them pay expenses. So please just get a hold of Wendy or I.
Great, thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Let's see where I'm at. Next up is approve out-of-state travel for NHD Nationals 2025.
Did you guys vote on that?
Probably good.
Okay, good, just making sure.
I'm just here to request approval for the trip to NHD Nationals in Maryland. Spoke of track records. I think our NHD program definitely has a track record of getting kids to nationals. This year we only have two. One of them you met earlier, Olivia Smasny, and the other one is a middle schooler, Aurelia Arion. I apologize if I mispronounced that. But those two made it and would like to travel to University of Maryland to present their projects. They would be accompanied by our wonderful, amazing supervisors and ASB extraordinaire, the Dean and Kyla Smith, who've done such an amazing job with this program. So shout out to all four of those people and congratulations, and we would request that approval.
Full disclosure, this is why I recommend we do something ahead of time, because they have to turn around and make plans so quickly. I tried to call Jason, but I couldn't get a hold of you. So I called Elisa and said, can I please have permission to make the plans now, even though the board hasn't approved it? Because they have to reserve that, they have to pay their fee, they have to get their hotel room, they have to do well, it's not a hotel, they stay at a college. All of these things, and there's, like, if we just approved it now, they leave in less than a month, so. Just, it is kind of post-approving, but, yeah.
I'll move to approve out-of-state travel for NHD Nationals.
Been moved and second to approve out-of-state travel for NHD Nationals students. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Next up is thinking maps. Eric and Kevin.
My name's on here too, but I already have
Maybe.
talked too much tonight, so I'm gonna let you two do it.
Thank you for your time. So I've been working a lot with Mr. Gilman from my last appearance here before the board, letting you know we're working on the transition. A big portion of the work that's been done with the multilingual education department has been increasing our professional development for teachers around strategies and ways to address the civil rights of multilingual learners within our district. And one of the great things that we've done is use of thinking maps. Mr. Gilman's building has been the flagship in this work. It comes from a book study that he originally started with his group over there. The gains have been amazing. They're actually on a different step, but we're trying to increase the capacity within the Whitstrand Elementary and then catch up all of the other buildings within the district to meet the same training. So everybody's trained. So far, all of Housel Middle School has had their initial training. All of Whitstrand Elementary has had their training. All of the paras within the district have had their training. And then we're kind of catching up all the other pockets for this training as well. And Mr. Gilman can kind of attest to thinking maps and its effectiveness and what it's done, and then how it really impacts early learning and early education.
So two of the lowest areas that we have on the WIDA and then also at the ELA is writing. And we adopted this art curriculum, which is great for the content and the assessments that are in there. This actually helps to develop the students and teachers around the structure of reading, which will then help them write better. So they have different thinking maps, and it's really the old school way would have been they would have called them graphic organizers. But it's really about the thinking and identifying the thinking that's going on while you're reading. And then with that thinking, you could be using a double bubble, which is comparing and contrasting. There's cause and effect. So whatever that text structure and that thinking is it drives the map that you end up using as a student. That then translates. So after the thinking map has been selected, there's the speaking off the map. So the students have that information right there, and they're able to build their ORC with each other by sharing whatever they're researching or writing about. And then it translates right off that map into the writing, which it's all very structured and organized. And it's not only in that grade level, the use of it, but also across their grade levels. So as the kids move through, and yes, our kindergartners are using the thinking maps. You go in their rooms and they have all kinds of circle maps and double bubbles and bubble maps, which it just depends on the thinking that they're doing. Now at the kindergarten level, that's with assistance, but as they go through, then there's more independence to where they start to transition from those, using those, and then connecting it to their writing in first grade, second, third grade. That structure is down. And then from there, they start building and getting deeper into figurative language, dialogue, things like that. So there's really the thinking and the structure is in place all the way through K-5. And we have our training, which is expository. They had the narrative earlier this year, and it's really digging into the grade level expectations around writing in those two areas. And then at the other two elementaries, they're going to have the introduction to the thinking maps at Caribbean and at Heights. So that going into the future, then we can just keep building on it, because you have to create one of the things that they ask you to do through thinking maps is kind of to create this professional development map. And so there's prerequisites. You have to complete this before you move on to the next one. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
And all of the proposals that you have in front of you are for, instead of us sending our team to a training, it's better and more beneficial for us as a district, and we save money by actually just having them present directly to us. So the two proposals that you see from Thinking Maps itself, one of them is specifically for the Whitstrand Elementary because they're at a next level, and that is working on the writing components, and it's for grades K1. It's also for grades 2, 3, and grades 4, 5. The other Thinking Maps proposal that you have in front of you is for the day one training for those who have not had Thinking Maps training as of yet. Now, we do have we built some capacity within the system as well, where we do have district trainers. Currently, we have 5 of them throughout the district that are available and will continue to help with some of this professional development. But again, we are making sure that as many teachers as we can capture are going to participate in that. The other contract that you have in front of you is from Jennifer Cowgill. This is a contract through ESD 123. She's been a great partner over the past 4 years in helping us develop many things. One of them, the EL Master Plan, which is on our website, kind of explains all the details and how we work within providing services for our multilingual students. In addition to that, she's also provided some initial training when we started the whole Thinking Maps process, and she's really is aware of where our buildings are at and what our teachers need. Now, as Mr. Gilman was explaining earlier, there's a big component about speaking and writing from the map. Mrs. Cowgill is actually going to be coming in to help kind of facilitate that as well for those teachers after they've had their initial day one training. So the goal of all of this professional development is for us to be able to be ready to go in the fall and have some units planned out and earmarked with specific ways we can implement this strategy, and the teachers are less stressed, they feel more comfortable, they're well aware of what their plans are right in the fall, so we can get to other things like leveling our kids and using our curriculum and creating an overall positive experience for our kids.
And this is fully funded through Title III. That's a grant around professional development for multilingual learners. And the grant is specifically written by Eric back in the last fall, to support this learning for teachers.
Great, thank you for presenting all that. I had a question on the training through, is it Thinking Maps? Is that the company?
Yes, that's the company itself.
There's 2 contracts in here, one for the 18th through the 20th, and then one for the 16th. So is it a whole week training, or are we skipping Tuesday and?
No, so Whitstrand Elementary is 18, 19, and 20 specifically.
Oh, gotcha.
And then we're having a day one training on the 16th for everybody else.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not a whole week. There'll be essentially two
different training sessions.
Trainings going on.
Okay, thank you.
Is it for teachers only or also paras?
As of right now, it's for instructional professionals. So the teachers, yes, it's the content teachers. Now, all the paras, we did a whole district-wide training already. So they've had the day one training, and the paras have their binders and materials as well. So the other benefit is that the teacher many of our elementary teachers do small group work. And so they can ask the paras, would you please do this small group work? Be sure to use, let's say, a flow map in this particular content. Well, the para is going to have that background and understanding. So yes, we're training our teachers, but we also made the commitment to ensure that we're training all instructional professionals. And so paras have already had that training. Is there another question?
I think teachers have signed up for it physically.
As of my most recent list was 18. And then I did extend out to the high school because we did some initial trainings on Wednesdays, but not everybody was able to make it. So I did open that opportunity up to the high school as well.
Any other questions for Eric and Kevin? We'll move to approve the Thinking Maps contracts. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Thinking Maps, students. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is emergency substitutes.
So this is something we'll be doing each year, and we really kind of have to do it at the end of the year after we have all of them. I guess I could do them one by one, but if we have a substitute in a classroom for more than 4 weeks, that is an emergency sub, they have to be approved by the board. Most of these people have already subbed or are in the process of subbing for maternity leaves. It's really maternity and medical leaves that they're subbing for. So these folks have, all of them work a lot of days for us.
Any questions for Deanna, students? I move to approve the emergency substitutes. Been moved and seconded. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is a MOU with the University of Southwest Practicum Placement for Abigail Rodriguez.
So I actually have 2, possibly 3 requests for counseling placements for students that are doing their practicums, which is great because I know we have some counselors in the maybe near year or 2 that will be retiring. So Abigail Rodriguez has requested an internship at Prosser High School, and Jennifer Colgan has agreed to be her mentor. University makes the individual student submit a form to go for Allie Cox. So this is just so Abby can do her practicum next year.
Any questions for Deanna, students?
I move to approve number 7 memorandum of understanding, University of the Southwest, practicum placement for Abigail Rodriguez.
Been moved and seconded to approve the MOU with University of Southwest students. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to resolution 0825. This is an item that I pulled from the last meeting, making sure that I had it in the right format, working with some other districts. This is a vote that's basically it supports a bylaw change. This doesn't go into effect just because we vote on it through WASDA, but if we get it at least 5 districts to pass this resolution, it becomes up for a vote at the fall. I think it's September, early September General Assembly. So then it'd be voted for by all the districts. Correct.
Jason, do you know other districts that are looking at this the same way it's written? Does that be like exactly the same?
Exactly the same. So I've been working with Linden Director on this, Linden School District Director, and came up with this format. And then I think between us and Linden and whatever other districts, I think there's another one on the west side and maybe another couple over here or something like that are all looking at it.
I looked at the bylaws and didn't see anything about model policies, so I think it's good that it's addressed, but WASDA must have a procedure. You know what it is? How they what the current way they develop model policy is?
I wouldn't know. But yeah, I would agree with you because there's really nothing there. They just pop out.
Yeah, I was digging around, I'm like, there must be one, but I couldn't find it.
But yeah, I think, with the way this is written, if it gets approved, then at least it makes the process more open and an opportunity for parents, community, districts to put in their 2 cents.
And I think to have that comment period for 30 days and published is very fair. Makes a lot of sense. That's what
Right.
So I would make a motion to approve resolution 0825 WASDA model policy.
That's second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 0825 WASDA model policy and procedure development. This is a roll call vote. Michelle?
Aye.
Brian? Frank? Elisa?
Aye.
And I too will vote aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to realtor contract. Kim, are you on? I think I saw you on there.
Looks like she is, but this is a contract for us to engage with Coldwell Banker to list our properties that we're planning to put up for sale. You can see that in the addendum at the start for the 3 properties. I think it's a total of 5 parcels.
Any questions for Kim or Deanna?
I would make a motion to approve the realtor contract.
Been moved and seconded to approve the realtor contract. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is resolution 0925, authorizing the superintendent to negotiate with potential buyers of surplus district real property. We don't know if
Yeah, Kim
Kim's,
looks like it's on there. It looks like she's muted right now, but it- to facilitate the process, it makes sense to have your superintendent be able to communicate, work with our realtor through the process. Just
I made it on.
she's there.
there
She
you are.
is. Yes. Do you know which we're on the
Yes, I've been listening.
organization? Okay.
Okay, so what this does to the community and people who are listening, this allows me to receive the offers, work with the realtor according to the contract, follow the RCWs, and negotiate within the parameters of this resolution. It does not allow me to enter into a contract. Those have to come for public, just like we do any other contract. But this just allows us to not have to have a special meeting every time we get an offer, post 24 hours, do a negotiation, and then do it back. I hope that makes sense.
Any questions for Kim?
Authorizing superintendent to negotiate with potential buyers of surplus district property.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 0925, authorizing the superintendent to negotiate with potential buyers of surplus district real property. This is a roll call vote. Michelle?
Aye.
Brian? Aye. Frank? Lisa?
Aye.
And I too will vote aye. Motion carries. Next up is a memorandum of understanding for Prosser Coaches Association.
So this is the final ratification of their contract for 2025 through 2027. I did not negotiate this contract. Kim did.
I
So,
am
no
on.
question.
This was an amazing opportunity for our coaches. There is really no major changes in this contract at all, except one. We in the past, our cheerleading coach received one contract for both fall and winter. Now that means every fall football game and all the assemblies and all the work, as well as winter, all games, that's boys, girls, right? All of the games, if you've been ever involved, that's a big ask for one coaching contract. And it has now been divided into a fall coaching contract and a winter coaching contract. Both I and the Coaches Association felt that was a fair representation for the amount of work. It also would allow to divide the work. Now, that's not the goal. The goal is to have one coach for both seasons because that creates continuity, but we felt the pay needed to be there. The rest of it is pretty standard.
Any questions for Kim?
I would make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Crosshair Coaches Association.
Been moved and seconded to approve the MOU with the Prosser Coaches Association. All the students? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next up is the Emergent 3 Service Agreement.
So there's a requirement, a new requirement that school districts have an electronic means to communicate during emergencies, aside from just you can call on your cell phone or send an email. Emergent 3 is a program that Kim actually has experience with when she was in Soap Lake, but for the cost, it's a pretty robust system that allows immediate real-time notifications. Staff members can communicate from their phone through the app. If they, right now, if they have to send out a notice, it's either radio, which sometimes during an emergency, you don't want to use a radio, and or they get to their computer, and so they'll be able to do that from their cell phone. It was really interesting. I thought the abilities of the application, they map all of our schools. The law enforcement has immediate access to all of that as well. It was really, I think, going to be a really important safety addition to our district.
The other piece that's really, really important with this is if you are in a classroom with students, you have ability to message security, fire, or police, like student needs medical care, or we are all good, we can turn green, or if you hear something changing, go from green to yellow, or you can say, we thought we were in danger, but we feel safe now, so you can go from red to green. And it's very fast, it's very seamless, and Emergent 3 does all the mapping work.
I think in addition to is like sometimes you go into lockdown, like Johnny went to the bathroom and you don't know where he is. And a lot of times in lockdown, teacher goes to lock their door. If they see a student, they'll just pull students into their room. And so they'd have the ability to say, Johnny's missing from my room. Johnny's in my room. So some of those worries and things where maybe some of your students might have been out of the room, all of those pieces of communication could happen. I was impressed by it.
Any questions?
Deanna, you said this is now being required by the state?
An application, not the program, but we have to have in our safety plan an electronic means of communication, immediate communication.
Okay, but funding comes out of our basic ed, but it's required by the state.
That would be correct.
Okay, who all has access? Would this be teachers, admin? I'm guessing not students, right?
Well, I think if you have the application, Kim, is it a subscribe? Like, can they subscribe like for notifications like a parent?
Yes, so a parent can get the app on their phone, and they have a different level than a teacher would have or a paraprofessional, but they get the instant notification. And so technically students could also, right? But they have a different level of communication between the building and like a student wouldn't be able to communicate with the police.
So do you envision that, like, for example, if a school were to go on lockdown, that this app could notify parents immediately that their child
Within seconds.
is in lockdown?
Yes.
Within seconds.
Just as fast as like a text would go.
Yeah, I think that's been a big need of ours, honestly.
I can tell you too, when a school is when you're in an emergent situation, the ability for a leader to go and stop or get somebody to stop and put out a message on Parent Square, whatever it is, it's not very realistic. And you do your communication as quickly as you can, but it's just not realistic because you're dealing with a situation. So this makes it, and principals will be able to do their notification, everything's right there on their phone, which for the most part, they have their phone. Sometimes Brian Bailey doesn't have, but that's a different problem. He has his other phone usually. I hold on somewhere.
What is, and you said it had direct line to, the police department and sheriff's department. Is that how that works? Is that how they get the
Yep.
notification?
So they'll get, they get a feature. They're considered part of our employee setup makeup, right? And so their dispatch has one level, their responders have a different level of app. And then it's kind of like if you've ever been, somebody says, join this app, and then they give you a code to accept, right? So then we issue the codes to accept. So we send the notification, then we accept their app addition to the application.
Questions for Kim?
you. There's communication between each facility as well. All the work together.
Okay, it's a district application. Kim, if Housel Middle School goes into lockdown, does it notify like on a certain level, notify like principals and other buildings? Okay.
Yep.
It's been about a month since we watched it, so
Yeah. So
Kim's used it, so.
yeah, if you could amend his.
Questions for Kim or Deanna, students? Move to approve the emergent 3 service agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next up is River Ridge Vision Service.
So we have a very small number of students in our district that have some very specific needs for vision services that we are not able to provide in our district. A person with these skills, we don't have enough students to justify having a person. So we've contracted with this person before, and Jelaine herself called me and said, we absolutely have to get this contract in. She does an amazing job with my student that has vision impairment. So this is to continue for next year to provide those services that are in the IEP for those students.
They only come to our school
Yeah.
twice a week.
She will come, 2 days a week for 72 days. The total number of hours are there because right now, I think it is 2 students that she works with, but don't quote me on that. I don't know if Nikki's on there because I don't think she is.
Assuming it's all paid out of special ed.
It is.
Is this an increase or a decrease from last year?
I can't answer that for you. I don't know. I can find out and send it to you, but I don't want to say we don't have an option, but we kind of don't have an option.
Like those ones. I move to approve the River Ridge Vision Services.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve River Ridge Vision Services students. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up is the first reading of policy 3413, student immunization and life-threatening health conditions.
Yeah, no, there's not really changes. This is when we've actually had on, this is the 3rd time because we had pulled it off. This is required basically for us to administer the requirements for students to enter school and their immunization rules. And it does mention the life-threatening health conditions because those are basically governed by the doctor's healthcare plan.
This is the same as the last time.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve the first reading of policy 3413, student immunization and life-threatening health conditions.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve first reading of policy 3413, students. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is first reading of policy 3210, non-discrimination.
Yes, so this is a required policy that we had in place, but it needs to be updated with current language and law.
Move to approve the first reading of policy 3210, non-discrimination.
Been moved and seconded to approve first reading of policy 3210. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next up is first reading of policy 5406, leave sharing.
I'll just say we've been leave sharing for the 34 years I've been here, and this will be the first time we have a policy. We should have had this on the books and did not, so
I'll
there's
make a-
that.
I'll make a motion to approve first reading of policy 5406, leave sharing.
Moved and seconded to approve the first reading of policy 5406. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next up is second and final reading of policy 1000, legal status and operation.
Because it's the same one, Selena, we need to have this one and we do not. So it's a required policy we didn't have in place.
And make a motion to approve the second reading of policy 1000, legal status and operation.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the second final reading of policy 1000. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next up is second reading of policy, second final reading of policy 5281, disciplinary action and discharge.
So this is again, I think, another one of those policies that we have needed to update, and
Yes, there's been no changes since the discussion, after the discussion in the first reading.
is this the Boy Scouts one you did update?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd move to approve the second reading of policy 5281, disciplinary action.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the second final reading of policy 5281. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is second reading of policy 6551, information security.
Were there any changes, Selena, from the last reading? Okay.
I move to approve second final reading of policy 6551.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve second final reading of policy 6551. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next up is vouchers and payroll. Any questions on vouchers and payroll? Students? I move to approve vouchers and payroll.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve vouchers and payroll. Student? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. That concludes our action items. Moving on to consent items 1 through 3.
Move to approve consent items 1 through 3.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve consent items 1 through 3. Students? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That concludes our action items for tonight. Moving on to reports. Delise, you're up first.
Nothing for me tonight. Just trying to keep my head above water.
She's doing a great job.
Delise, Deanna?
Science adoption, we're gonna have our last meeting of the year on Tuesday. We are still, I haven't heard yet about the most recent pilot at the high school. We'll hear about that at the meeting. Middle school, we've gotten a little feedback and met with some schools on Discovery, so we're gonna talk about that also on Tuesday, and hopefully after that point, we'll have some ideas moving forward. That idea, maybe we're not doing anything yet because we really want to make sure if we're going to spend this money, it's a really good curriculum that's going to be the best for us. And we're not sure we're there yet. Okay. And the second one is I have been working on staffing and budgeting for my grants. and that is all based on our best estimates because they will not tell us how much money we're going to have next year yet. So we're being very conservative, but it is much more of a mystery than it's been in the past right now.
Thank you. Any questions for Deanna, students? Thank you. Kim?
I'm not going to spend a lot of time like I normally do, but I do want to make sure that we acknowledge and thank the community for the pickleball courts and tennis court for the community. The signs for usage will be going up in the next couple days. Remember, they are a school for school use during the day, so we need to ask that you respect that if a student does show up. But if you would like to reserve them for any special event or set time, there's a facility use agreement that you can use. Other than that, it's been crazy busy, lots of contract negotiations and budget, but we'll leave it at that for tonight.
Kim, any questions for Kim?
Thanks, Kim.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Next up is board reports. Michelle?
For the sake of time, I'm not gonna say anything, but whoever put this graduation week schedule in front of me, thank you. I'm really excited for all of the fun that's coming. And for all you seniors here.
Thanks, Michelle. Brian?
Yeah, it's a great info to have. Thank you. I'll just echo what Jason said earlier. Just want to thank our district teachers, principals, superintendent Casey, and assistant superintendent Deanna, for making the sacrifice that you guys did for the district going into next year. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian. Frank?
Yeah, I would echo that as well. Much thanks for that. But I don't have anything else.
I'm going to echo the thank you to teachers, principals, and administration for getting these contracts taken care of the best for the district. Echo Kim comments on the pickleball court Monday and Tuesday night in the evening. They were full this week of middle-aged people having a really good time. The courts were really full, so I'm glad they're enjoying them. I also want to thank our community members, and there's a lot of them that donate their time to review the local community scholarships. The Mountain Crosser Scholarship, Edgar Whitehead, Harold Pleasant, the ones that Mr. Adams organizes, takes care of, and just so many people. And then so many people that have been so incredibly generous. The ability to give out this much to our graduates is just incredible, and it's all from Foster.
Thank you, Lisa. I don't have anything. So with that, no further business being conducted. We'll have please note that the regular board meeting scheduled for May 28th has been rescheduled to a special board meeting on Thursday, May 29th at the usual time and location right here at 6 p.m. Superintendent Casey and Assistant Superintendent Flores will be attending the Southeast Association of Washington School Administrators Awards on the evening of the 28th. So our next meeting is May 29th, Thursday, May 29th at 6 p.m. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you.